awkward hesitation step down the carpeted aisle. Ellen spotted Kyle first and tugged on her husband's sleeve. "John, John, what did you do with the camera?" He looked on the seat behind him, then turned to Ellen with a shrug, shaking his head. She knew the camera had been there just moments before. She swept aside his jacket and her purse, searching. "Hurry up, honey," she whispered, elbowing him. "We've got to find it. You'll miss him." John's gaze moved to her hand. His eyes widened, and his shoulders shook with silent laughter as he pointed to the camera in Ellen's hand. She looked down and gave a little gasp. Rolling her eyes in self-deprecation, she shoved the camera at him. He took it from her and quickly knelt in the aisle, waiting for Kyle to reach them. Kyle spotted his father and hammed a goofy grin just as the flash went off. "That kid!" Ellen shot him an exaggerated scowl, and his smile turned genuine. As the last crescendo peaked and receded, and the graduates took their seats on the dais, John reached for Ellen's hand. She squeezed his fingers and turned to give him a wobbly smile. Kyle was their baby, and they'd been through this twice already. Ellen thought she was immune to the emotional sentiment of the ceremony, but the music set off a rush of memories. She gulped back tears. She couldn't cry. Kyle would be mortified if he looked out over the crowd and caught his mom blubbering like a baby. In truth, she wasn't being maudlin. She always cried on happy occasions, and she was truly delighted that they had reached this milestone in their lives. Their last child had made his way safely through the labyrinth of adolescence, and this was undeniably a celebration of that fact. But she'd always felt a bitter sweetness about any transition in her life, and this one would certainly be significant. In 2 weeks, Kyle would pack his bags and head to New Mexico for a hard-won summer job at a resort. He'd come home in August, just in time to pack and leave for Urbana, where he would start classes at the University of Illinois. Ellen gave a little sigh. By the middle of June, 245 West Oaklawn would officially be an empty nest. While some of her friends had found the empty nest stage a difficult passage, she looked forward to it. Perhaps some of her optimism was due to the fact that her family still surrounded her. Jana and her husband lived nearby in Chicago and visited often. Brant was only 2 hours away at the university in Urbana. He wasn't quite as faithful about getting home, especially now that they were hearing more and more about someone named Cynthia, but they talked with him on the phone nearly every weekend. It would be a comfort to her and John to have the boys at school together. Kyle would be staying in the dorm for the first year at least, but Brant lived near the campus, and she knew he would keep an eye out for his little brother. The commencement speaker stepped to the podium, and a hush descended over the auditorium. Her hand warm in John's, Ellen allowed her thoughts to drift. Soon the local dignitary's voice faded into a pleasant murmur. Time rolled back as the lifetime of events that had brought them to this moment paraded through her mind. Ellen Randolph's childhood had been idyllic. Howard and Mary Ellen Randolph worked their farm 6 days a week, from sun-up to sundown, and by the time their 4 daughters left home, the Randolphs owned their 500 acres, free and clear. Having 4 daughters in succession had not disappointed Howard Randolph in the least, but neither had he made any concessions to their femininity. His girls could drive any tractor or truck on the place, and the miles of fence that surrounded their land had been mended by the Randolph sisters, Ellen, Kathy, Carol, and Diana. The 4 musketeers, their dad had called them, still called them. The pleasures of Ellen's childhood on the Illinois farm came mostly from simple things, working side by side with her father in the fields, or gardening and canning in the steamy kitchen with her mother. Money was scarce, and though there had been occasional vacations, camping in the mountains or visiting relatives in California, these were not the substance of Ellen's memories. The magic lay in the everyday things: Sunday night popcorn,